As the war rages in Ukraine, President Biden is unveiling his $5.8 trillion budget proposal.
Security also means national and international security. And this will be among the largest investments in our national security in history.
Well, his budget also includes billions for progressive policies, including the biggest increase in climate spending, along with $10 billion to send out free postal ballots and less than $310 million to protect the southern border. GOP Senator Ron Johnson sits on the Senate Budget and Foreign Relations Committee. He joins us right now with reaction. He represents the great state of Wisconsin. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
Where are we going to get this money?
We're going to print it. No, I'd say the Biden administration, as well as so many other people here in Washington, D.C., are just whistling past the graveyard. You know, $5.8 trillion budget, more than 70% of that is on automatic pilot. So the discretionary portion is only about 29%, about a little under $800 billion for defense, over $900 billion for domestic programs, and that's some of the green energy, some of those fantasy programs. But everybody should be concerned about, for example, Saudi Arabia talking to China about trading their oil in the yuan rather than the U.S. dollar.
Sure.
At some point in time, if this continues, world creditors are going to look at the United States as not a very good credit risk. If we ever lose our position as the world's reserve currency, interest rates are going to go to just basically world rates, and we are going to be in a heap of trouble.
What do you make of the fact that he's proposing this wealth tax on super wealthy people? You know, when he was running for president, he did not get behind that. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren did, but he would not. He thought that was a bridge too far. Well, apparently we're at that bridge now.
Well, personally, I think there's better ways of taxing the American people. I would like to rationalize and simplify our tax form, or our tax process here. That's not what this is going to be doing. I think it'd probably do more harm than good. What I would suggest is that we tax all income equally. I understand that progressive rates are here to stay, but it's absurd that we have different categories of income. And I think it also is a real problem that you have these big tech billionaires really never realizing their capital gains. They just have their wealth caught up in their business. My proposal would be to turn all businesses into pass-through entities, and you tax income every year like you do for 95% of American businesses. People don't realize this. The vast majority of American businesses are pass-through entities. Their business income is taxed at individual rates to the shareholders. It's entirely possible to do that for all the C Corps, too. That would simplify things. That would go a long way toward addressing the problem that Joe Biden is trying to address here with the wealth tax.
Yeah. Something else, you and Chuck Grassley were on the Senate floor yesterday talking about, you know, essentially how the media continues to use their power to smear Republicans and cover for the Bidens. And to that point, according to the Media Research Center, it has been 259 days, 37 weeks, since ABC, CBS, NBC, on their evening newscast mentioned Hunter Biden. Gee, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, it is pretty remarkable, isn't it? You know, when Senator Grassley and I were doing our investigation into a number of corrupt areas of the federal government, one of the things that got on the radar screen was the conflict of interest that Hunter Biden had, for example, with Burisma in Ukraine. We started looking into it, and we uncovered a vast web of foreign financial entanglements. We issued our report before the election. We thought it was important the American public would understand the extent that Joe Biden would be compromised as the United States president. But the media just ignored it. They actually instead ran the false accusations created by our Democrat colleagues in the Senate that Senator Grassley and I were soliciting and disseminating Russian disinformation. Nothing could have been further than the truth. In fact, Democrats entered Russian disinformation into our investigation record. But let's face it, we've got no apologies from those Democrat colleagues. We've got no apologies from the mainstream media acknowledging the fact that we were right, they were wrong. And that's part of the problem here, Steve, is we have a complicit media. They're not impartial. They're basically advocates for the Democrat Party. They got Joe Biden, who campaigned from his basement, elected president. Now they're going to be covering up for all the disasters of his policies that are weakening this country and, quite honestly, tempting tyrants to do what Vladimir Putin did in Ukraine.
I don't think I would hold my breath, Senator, waiting for that apology, just saying. You're from Wisconsin. In Eau Claire, during a recent staff development teacher for teachers there, the staff was instructed, quote, remember, parents are not entitled to know their kids' identities. That must be earned, talking about their gender identities. What do you make of that?
I think it is appalling the way so many school districts are showing such utter contempt and disdain for parents. Parents should not have to give up their parental rights when they send their children to public school. And unfortunately, that's what's happening. So in Wisconsin, I've been traveling around the state. I've been encouraging people, if you don't want CRT taught to your children, don't let it be taught. If you are concerned about the pushing, and that's what the left is doing, they're pushing this gender identity issue on our children, I said, don't let it be pushed. So show up to school board meetings respectfully. If your school board doesn't listen to you, run for office. A lot of parents are running for school board right now, and that's the best way to take care of this.
Could be the new Loudoun County. The school district said, essentially, if parents have questions or concerns, contact the teacher, the principal, or the district office. Senator Ron Johnson, we thank you very much, sir, for joining us today from Washington.
Have a good day.
You too.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.